He stood behind tinted glass, 37 floors above the noise of the city, but the sight below silenced everything. A woman in a slate blue dress crouched beside two children, twins. One had his focused stare, the other had his mother's calming smile. They didn't know he was watching, not yet. But Talon Drexler already knew. Those children were his, and the woman walking away with them, she was the only person who'd ever truly loved him. The woman he let go, the one his wife swore he was better off without, only now she was the mother of his real children, while the woman he married had never been pregnant at all. Talon Drexler and Aurelie Dane, expecting their first child. That headline dominated every business blog and celebrity column for months. The billionaire investor and his glamorous socialite wife were the kind of couple who turned corporate galas into press events. She was elegance. He was empire. They were made for magazine covers. But behind closed doors, Talon barely said a word. The night Aurelie showed him a pregnancy test, he didn't react the way she wanted. No wide-eyed joy. No running to book a doctor. He had stared at her, flatly, for too long, and when she finally placed a perfectly timed hand over her belly, he mumbled, "Okay." That was it. No embrace, no kiss, just, okay. Because something inside him, something he never voiced, knew it wasn't real. Still, he played along. He showed up at the photo shoots, placed his hand on her waist like the papers demanded. He sat through award dinners where she rubbed her fake bump mid-toast. He smiled for the cameras, but the smile never reached his eyes. Before all the wealth, before the corporate grooming and stylists and board-approved relationships, Talon Drexler was just a driven man with big plans and one woman who saw him clearly. Raya Cade. She met him in her father's vineyard outside Calistoga. Talon was still building his first portfolio back then. Gritty, brilliant, broke. Naraya was an operations assistant, balancing accounts and pruning vines before lunch. Her hands were always busy, her thoughts sharp. They shared late-night walks between the rows. She once told him, "You're going to build something big, but if you lose your quiet, you'll lose yourself." He kissed her under moonlight and whispered, "Then don't let me lose it." But the city had other plans. As Talon climbed, the voices around him got louder. His board began advising him to stabilize his image, to present maturity, family, public warmth. Translation: find a woman who photographs well, one who fits the brand. Naraya didn't argue. She just packed her things one morning, kissed his cheek softly, and left. No drama, no fight, no mention of the secret growing inside her. Enter Aurelie Dane, stunning, poised, with an Ivy League surname and a practiced smile. She moved fast. She met Talon at a charity event 2 weeks after Naraya vanished. She didn't ask questions about the past. She flattered. She aligned. And when Talon fell silent, she didn't dig. She rebranded him, gave his image warmth, curated every appearance. And a year later, when she sensed him drifting, when he stayed too long in, thought, when he skipped dinners and forgot to look at her, she panicked. Aurelie had seen what silence meant. She couldn't lose control, so she showed him a test, said the words carefully. "We're pregnant." The press exploded. Aurelie wore fitted maternity gowns at every gala. She placed her hands over a small bump during red carpets. The pregnancy was a perfectly staged performance. They even hosted a gender reveal brunch, complete with a pink champagne tower. Talon stayed quiet throughout. He didn't accuse, didn't question, but in private, he began working later, traveling more. Even his staff noticed it. "He doesn't laugh anymore," one executive assistant whispered. "He's always somewhere else," another said. They were right, because Talon had started dreaming about the only woman who ever meant anything to him, the one who had quietly walked away and never once tried to come back. What he didn't know, she hadn't stayed gone. She faked a baby to stay in his life. His real children lived hours away, unseen. Have you ever watched someone manipulate love out of fear? Or stayed silent while your instincts scream the truth? What happens when a lie becomes your reality? When the world cheers for a family that doesn't exist? But what if the woman he left behind returns, with the only truth that could break everything wide open? That night, while Aurelie celebrated their growing media reach with her publicist, Talon stood, alone on the penthouse balcony, staring at a quiet photo he kept hidden in his wallet. It was Naraya, face sunlit, holding a cup of tea on a vineyard porch. She looked real, peaceful, and he wondered, again, why she left. And why even now? He couldn't let her go. He didn't lose Naraya all at once. It was gradual, like fog rolling in, quiet and slow. At first, it was missed calls, then canceled weekend plans. Eventually, the silence between them filled entire rooms. The vineyard, once their shared escape, became just another stop on her long list of responsibilities. Talon was always flying out for investor meetings. Naraya was covering for staff, helping her father, paying off loans. They lived in two worlds that no longer touched. Still, she never accused him of forgetting her. She never clung. One night, after his third trip to San Francisco in 8 days, he returned to find her waiting on the porch. A single packed suitcase sat at her feet. "I won't ask you to choose," she said quietly, eyes steady. "But I won't beg to stay." He didn't speak. He thought she was bluffing. She wasn't. She walked down the gravel path, got into her sister's car, and disappeared without turning back. He expected a text, a call, some kind of angry closure. But Naraya K disappeared from his life the same way she entered it, without noise. He buried himself in work, acquisitions, public funding, a mentorship program, new board members. His face started appearing on Forbes lists. Investors took notes when he spoke, and slowly the name Naraya faded from the lips of his staff. Only one person still knew, Aurelie Dane. She didn't know the full story, but she knew enough. She had asked Talon once, lightly, during a drive. Who was she? He didn't answer. She never asked again. She didn't need to. Aurelie studied patterns, not feelings. She watched the way his eyes paused on vineyard commercials, how he skipped love scenes in films, how he hesitated during interviews when the word family came up. She didn't love him, not the way Naraya had. She admired him. She wanted to build a life with a man the world respected, and she wasn't going to let a ghost ruin that. Aurelie positioned herself perfectly. She began showing up at the same events. She laughed at his dry humor. She wore clean lines, not dramatic gowns. Her presence didn't demand attention. It slipped under it. Smart, polished, strategic. By the end of the third month, Talon invited her to a formal dinner hosted by one of his legacy investors. That was all she needed. Within weeks, she'd moved into the penthouse. No announcement, no Instagram post, just a few designer bags by the closet and a spare toothbrush on the sink. She never once asked him to define what they were. That, in her mind, would have been a mistake. Instead, she studied him, found the weak points, the way he poured his scotch slower when tired, the books he never finished, the soft pauses when anything reminded him of before, and most of all, his fear of losing control. She played to that. So when she sensed his attention slipping, when he started working, late, staring out windows more than screens, Aurelie made her move. The pregnancy test was perfectly timed. She left it on the marble kitchen island, next to his coffee mug. She didn't say a word until he noticed it. He picked it up, stared at the result window. "Is this real?" he asked, but his voice was tired, flat. She nodded. "We're going to have a baby." The pause was unbearable. Then he said, "Okay." Aurelie smiled. She hugged him gently, let her hand rest between them, just long enough to press where her bump would be. She knew he wasn't convinced. She didn't need him to be. Not fully. She needed time, enough time to make the story public. Let the press spread it. Let the public love it. She'd already scheduled an appointment with a high-end private OBGYN who owed her father a favor. The sonogram images were handled. The statements were drafted. No one would question it, not even Talon, because if he did, the questions would lead back to the woman he lost, and Aurelie wasn't going to lose him to a woman who chose to walk away. The next 3 months were a performance. Aurelie wore soft, neutral dresses that draped just enough to suggest. She touched her belly often in public. She planned a photo shoot with Talon's PR team, black and white shots, her head on his chest, hands linked across her stomach. She faked morning sickness with tea in hand. Everything was calculated. The media loved it. They called her the modern matriarch of Drexler Holdings, a calm, elegant force behind the man building billion-dollar bridges across the tech and healthcare industries. Finally, one blog wrote, "A woman who matches his scale." Talon didn't argue. He barely reacted. He watched the coverage, nodded during interviews, smiled for cameras. But there was no spark, only stillness. And when he thought no one was watching, he'd retreat to the study. Behind his books, inside a locked drawer, was a photo he never threw away. Naraya, in a gray sweater, holding a paper cup, standing barefoot on a vineyard porch. Her eyes were half closed from sunlight. She wasn't smiling, but her face was peaceful. He'd stare at that photo long after Aurelie fell asleep in the next room. He never tried to find her, not because he didn't care, but because the guilt told him he didn't deserve to. He let her go. He didn't chase. He accepted what the world told him to become. Now, he was living with the version of himself they had crafted, one with awards, influence, a beautiful wife, and, supposedly, a child on the way. Still, something gnawed at him every time he touched the sonogram print Aurelie pinned to the fridge, the heartbeat video, the calendar of prenatal visits. Something about it all felt off. He told himself he was being paranoid, until the day he walked into the penthouse kitchen and saw Aurelie taking off her bump. He wasn't supposed to come home early. She froze. He didn't speak. She dropped the silicone belly piece onto the marble and turned slowly. He walked past her, quietly, picked up his phone, made a call. "Find her," he said. The assistant on the other line paused. "Sir?" Naraya Cade. "Find her." It was the first time he said her name out loud in 3 years, but it wouldn't be the last, because, while Aurelie was busy building a fantasy, Naraya had already built a life. And Talon Drexler was about to find out the truth didn't need headlines to be real. It just needed 2 small children, who already knew who their father was. The mornings in Naraya Cade's world didn't start with stylists or press alerts. They started with a soft knock at the door and 2 small voices whispering her name like a secret. "Mama, wake up. The tea's getting cold." Mila, always the first to rise, had already put 2 mugs on the kitchen counter, one for her and one for her mother. Casson, quieter, trailed behind her, holding his favorite blanket like a shield. He wasn't as chatty in the mornings, but Naraya loved the way he watched everything. Quiet like his father, sharp like her. Her cafe, Honey and Water, sat 2 blocks from their home in downtown Calmera, a sleepy town tucked between Napa's vineyards and the forgotten edges of city maps. It wasn't famous, but it was loved. Locals came for the lavender tea, the lemon peach scones, and the kind woman who never forgot a name. Naraya had built it from scratch. She didn't take out loans. She saved, worked night shifts, sold the old car her father left her. She used the money to buy second-hand equipment and painted the cafe walls herself. The floor still creaked in the back, but her customers called it charm. To her kids, the cafe wasn't just where Mama worked. It was part of home. They had a drawer behind the register filled with crayons, paper, and worn-out puzzle pieces. They spent weekends curled up in the corner booth drawing silly faces on napkins and helping pass out tip jars. Naraya raised them without drama, without men coming in and out, without bitterness. She told them stories about dreams, not about their father. And when they asked, "Where is he?" which only happened twice before, they got the same answer. "Some things are complicated, but you're not a mistake." Mila accepted it. Casson nodded and went back to coloring spaceships. They didn't press her. They trusted her. And that trust was what kept Naraya up some nights. Because what if, one day, they needed more than simple answers? What if the truth became too loud to silence? She never watched the news, but once every month she searched his name. Talon Drexler. She didn't do it because she missed him. She did it to stay ready. For questions, for public changes, for the moment her children might look at a screen and see the man who gave them their eyes. The moment came on a Wednesday. It was raining, lightly. The cafe was slow. Mila came running in from school soaked through, holding a magazine in both hands. "Don't be mad, Mama," she said breathlessly. "I took it from the corner store, but I didn't steal it. I put back the gum." Naraya blinked, confused, until she saw the magazine cover. Her heart stopped. It was Talon. His sharp jaw. That expression that never softened in photos. And beside him, Aurelie Dane, glowing in a champagne gown, hand resting on a pronounced baby bump. The headline read, "Finally, the heir to Drexler Empire." Naraya sank into a chair. Mila was watching her too closely. "That's him, right?" Naraya didn't answer. "That's our dad." Still no reply. Casson walked in next. Slower, quieter. He glanced at the magazine, then at his mother. "Is it?" Mila pressed. Naraya swallowed. She had kept it hidden for so long. The truth, the reason, the heartbreak. But they were old enough now, and lying had never been her way. "Yes," she said. "That's your father." Mila stared at the picture. "So, why doesn't he know us?" Naraya rubbed her palms together. "Because when I found out I was pregnant, he was already being told to become someone else. Someone the world expected him to be. I didn't want you to grow up around that." Casson looked up. "You mean the fancy people?" "No, sweetheart. I mean pressure, appearances. I didn't want your lives to be a story. I wanted you to be free." Mila tilted her head. "But now he has a baby, and she's everywhere." Naraya's heart ached. "I didn't want to be a disruption. But we're not a mistake," Mila said firmly, as if repeating her mother's own words back to her. "You're not," Naraya whispered. "Then maybe he should know we exist," Casson said. She looked at them both, so calm, so open. Something shifted in her chest. A long closed window cracked. She took a breath. "You're right." They blinked. "I didn't tell him because I wanted to protect you, but I won't keep the truth from him anymore." "Really?" Mila asked. "I'm going to see him now." Naraya nodded. "This weekend. I'll go alone first, then we'll see what happens next." The kids didn't jump or cheer. They didn't even smile. They just nodded. And somehow, that made her feel the weight of the moment even more. That night, Naraya packed a small bag. She told her sister she'd be gone for 2 days. She printed out a photo of Mila and Casson at last summer's cherry festival, ice cream on their chins, sunlight in their eyes. And she sat at the cafe after closing, staring at the picture, rehearsing what she would say. "I didn't come to ruin anything. No. I thought you should know your children." Too sudden. "I'm not asking for anything. Maybe." But in truth, Naraya didn't know what she wanted. She didn't want Talon back, not like before. She didn't want to fight. She only wanted to stop hiding. For her kids. For herself. The train ride into the city was quiet. She didn't touch her phone. She didn't tell the twins where exactly she was going. She wore a simple blouse, jeans, her natural curls pinned back. No makeup. No jewelry. She wanted to feel real. Not small. Just honest. When she reached the front desk of the Drexler Foundation building, the receptionist blinked twice. "Name? Naraya Cade." A pause. Fingers froze over the keyboard. The woman glanced at her headset, said something Naraya didn't catch, then looked back up. "He'll be right out." Naraya's pulse thudded. 5 minutes, then a door opened. And Talon Drexler walked out. At first, he didn't recognize her. His eyes slid past, then circled back. Froze. Naraya. His voice cracked. She hadn't heard it in 6 years, but it still did something to her bones. "Hello, Talon." They didn't shake hands. They didn't embrace. He gestured to a private meeting room. Once inside, they both stood. "I wouldn't be here unless it mattered," she said. "I figured." He waited. Naraya reached into her bag and pulled out the photo. "These are your children." Talon didn't move. He took the picture. His fingers trembled slightly. "Twins?" "Yes." He blinked, stared, opened his mouth, then closed it. She watched every flicker of reaction. "I wasn't going to tell you," she said softly. "But they started asking. They found a photo of you. They wanted answers." His eyes were still fixed on the image. "They're mine?" "Yes." "Why didn't you?" "Because you were already being pushed into something else, and I didn't want them to be a second thought. I didn't want them to be your charity." Talon looked up at her. There was something wounded in his gaze. Not anger, not betrayal. Loss. "Where are they now?" "Outside, with my sister." He didn't hesitate. He walked out of the room, past the desk, down the elevator, and out to the street. Naraya followed at a distance. The car was parked at the curb. Mila looked up through the window, saw him, smiled. Talon Drexler stopped walking. His chest lifted, and for the first time in 6 years, he broke. Talon didn't speak. Not immediately. He crouched next to the car, eyes locked with the little girl in the back seat. Her face was calm, curious. Her eyes searched his, like she was measuring something. Mila leaned toward the window, tapped lightly, and mouthed, "Hi." Casson stayed quiet beside her, one hand still gripping the edge of his blanket. Talon raised a shaky hand, rested it gently on the glass. His reflection stared back at him, older, colder, and finally awake. Naraya stood a few feet back, watching. He turned to her. "I want to talk to them." "They're not props, Talon," she said gently. "They're people. They don't need a show. They need to feel safe. I understand." She nodded, stepped forward, and opened the door. "Mila Casson, this is your dad. Do you want to say hello?" Mila stepped out first, ponytail slightly crooked, rain boots 2 sizes too big. Casson followed slowly, holding her sleeve. Talon knelt down. "I'm not great with first impressions," he said, eyes flicking between them. "But I've thought about this moment for a long time." "Did you know about us before now?" Mila asked, head tilted. "No, I didn't. But if I had, I would have come right away." "Do you believe in aliens?" Casson asked suddenly. Talon blinked, then nodded. "I think there's a lot we don't understand, and I like to imagine there's more out there than we can see." Casson smiled. Mila looked satisfied. "Well," she said, "you're not a bad start." They met again the next evening at a quiet private residence Talon, sometimes used when he needed to disappear from his own reputation. No staff, no press, just silence and stone walls with soft lighting. He had the kitchen stocked with kid snacks, juice boxes, dinosaur-shaped nuggets, and Naraya's favorite green tea. When Naraya arrived with the twins, she found Talon at the stove, sleeves rolled up, slightly overcooking the nuggets. "You cook now?" "I try. Burning doesn't count." He smiled. The twins ran to the living room, amazed at the oversized windows and soft couches. Mila pressed her hand to the glass and whispered, "We're so high up." "You live here?" Casson asked Talon. "Sometimes. Not always. Can we come again?" Talon glanced at Naraya. She didn't stop them. Not yet. Dinner was clumsy, but warm. Mila asked about his favorite color. Casson asked why he didn't own a spaceship. Talon answered every question seriously, as if they were shareholders in his company. Naraya watched, silently, carefully. At one point, Mila dropped her juice cup and gasped. "It's okay," Talon said. "I've made bigger messes." He grabbed a napkin, wiped the spill, sat back down. Casson leaned closer. "Do you like us?" Talon didn't flinch. "I love you." "Already?" "Yes. And I'm sorry I wasn't there from the start." Mila blinked slowly, then nodded. "Okay." And just like that, they accepted him. Children didn't need timelines. They needed truth. After the twins fell asleep on the oversized couch, Naraya pulled a blanket over them and stepped out onto the balcony. Talon followed. They stood in silence for a few seconds before she spoke. "I didn't expect this." "Expect what?" "For them to connect so quickly. I didn't expect to break." Naraya turned to him. "You looked at them, like your heart cracked open." "It did." He paused, looked away. "They have your calm, your steadiness. But there's something in Casson's eyes. It's like he sees everything." "He does." "I wasted so much time." "No. You lived the life you thought you had to. That's not wasted. That's surviving." "I don't want to survive anymore." She didn't answer. "I'm not asking for anything," he added. "I know I don't get to step back into their lives and pretend I was always here." He turned to her fully. "But I want to be here now. I want to earn whatever version of family they're willing to give me." He thought love could be staged. But tonight, truth knocked on his front door, wearing rain boots and holding juice boxes. Have you ever been in a room where the silence carried more weight than words? where you realized you missed out on something irreplaceable. This man wasn't fighting for headlines anymore. He was fighting for bedtime stories and spilled juice. Would you forgive someone who never showed up? Until now? Drop a comment. We want to know what you do. Naria stared out at the skyline. You think you're ready to be a dad now? I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm sure that I need to try. She turned to face him. They'll ask why you weren't there. I'll tell them the truth. And Ara Lee? He hesitated. She lied. About what? Talon held her gaze. She faked a pregnancy. Naraya didn't move. She wore a bump, created records, altered videos. All of it. Naraya exhaled. A slow, heavy breath. And you believed her? I didn't want to, but you stayed. He looked away. I was afraid if I left, I'd have nothing. No family, no legacy, no purpose. And now, I found 2 reasons to want more. He looked back at the couch, at Mila's hand resting against Kassan's shoulder as they slept. They gave me a future I didn't know I had. Naria's voice was soft. Then don't waste it. Arlie stood in front of the vanity mirror, adjusting her blouse for the 5th time. The silk clung in just the right places, the bump visible beneath it, small but defined. She angled her body sideways and tilted her chin slightly upward. Photogenic, soft, maternal. The clicks of the photographer's camera echoed in the room. Just like that, Mrs. Drexler. Gentle smile, hand under the belly. She obliged. She was good at this now, playing the part, curating the perfect image of what people thought a billionaire's wife should be. Beautiful, elegant, expecting. Everything the headlines said she was. But when the shoot ended, when the stylist left and the lighting crew packed up, she sat alone in the dimmed bedroom, staring at the bump she had carefully strapped on. It was no longer exciting. It was exhausting. Every fake appointment, every modified record, every performance, all of it built to buy time. But something had changed. Talon had changed. He didn't come home for dinner anymore. He didn't ask about the nursery she never intended to finish. He stopped touching her shoulder in public. At first, she chalked it up to stress, a project, board pressure. But then she found the old photo. She had gone into his office looking for his briefcase. Another event that required her coordination. What she found was a drawer she hadn't seen before. It wasn't locked. Inside it, a photo of a woman sitting on a porch, barefoot, tea in hand. Sunlight on her face. Peaceful, not styled, not curated. Naraya Cade. Aurelie stared at it for a long time. She never asked Talon about her, but she always knew. There was a reason he never lit up when she walked into the room. A reason his eyes wandered to vineyards when they drove through wine country. A reason he didn't kiss her the way men kissed their wives when they were really in love. Naraya had never left him, not really. So now, every time Talon left without saying where he was going, Aurelie's hands started to shake. She poured herself wine she wouldn't drink. Reapplied lipstick no one would see. Then she started tracking his car. The foundation gave her access. She told herself it was to plan his security better. That's how she saw he had spent the evening in an unknown private residence. Twice. She called him once that night. He didn't answer. When he came home the next morning, she pretended not to notice. She cooked breakfast, slid a glass of green juice toward him. Late night? She asked casually. He didn't reply. He barely touched the juice. And for the first time in weeks, he didn't mention the pregnancy. Not even in passing. Aurelie tried again. I scheduled our next sonogram for Friday. Do you want to come? He folded his napkin. I can't. That's the 3rd one you've skipped. I know. She waited for him to say something more. He didn't. That night, Aurelie opened her burner phone, the one she'd used to arrange everything. From the prosthetic bump to the fake ultrasound videos, and made a call. Dr. Landon, she said as the man picked up. I need another appointment. It's getting risky, the voice replied. Just one more. Talon didn't mention the meeting with Naraya to anyone. Not his team, not his assistant, not even his lawyer. He kept it close, private. The memory of Mila's small hand in his, Kassan's curious stare, the quiet weight of fatherhood settling in his chest. He had been a fool. He saw it clearly now. Everything about his marriage had been a structure built on silence. He hadn't loved Aurelie. He had accepted her. Let her step into a void he didn't have the strength to fill himself. And now, she was holding him hostage with a lie he no longer had to pretend to believe. He already had the test results. He already confirmed the clinic she visited didn't exist. He had seen the straps on the silicone. He knew. Still, he hadn't confronted her. Not yet. He didn't want drama. He didn't want war. He just wanted peace. But peace, he was starting to realize, would only come once he walked away from everything built on falsehood. Aurelie sat in the clinic parking lot the next morning, watching her hands tremble as she waited for the fake heartbeat video to be sent to her phone. The doctor inside was a hired actor, paid well to create just enough footage to fool someone who didn't want to look too closely. She used to feel powerful during these visits. Now she felt small. She hadn't expected Talon to pull away so soon. She hadn't expected silence to feel so much like punishment. When the video pinged, she stared at it. A rhythmic beat, a hazy outline. She forwarded it to Talon's number without a message. No caption, no plea, just the beat of a child that didn't exist. Talon opened the video and watched it once, then deleted it. He stood in his office, lights dimmed, hands braced against the desk. He didn't feel rage. He didn't even feel sad. He felt done. He didn't wait for the weekend. Talon came home that same evening, earlier than usual. No press, no staff. Aurelie was seated at the breakfast bar, sipping something green she never actually drank. Her laptop was open to an email draft titled, "Baby Shower Invite List." Final. The room was still. She looked up, smiled, as if rehearsed. "You're early. I needed to speak with you." She blinked. A small shift in her posture. Alert now. He walked past her, opened the drawer beside the fridge, pulled out the fake ultrasound video she had printed and taped to the inside of a recipe journal. He laid it on the counter. Then he reached into his coat pocket, pulled out 2 sheets of paper. He laid them down slowly, side by side. One was a lab-confirmed DNA report. The other was a surveillance report detailing her fake appointments, including the real identity of Dr. Landon. Aurelie didn't speak. Her eyes didn't widen. She didn't flinch. She just stared at the papers like she was memorizing them. Talon finally spoke. "You lied." She said nothing. "For over 6 months, to me, to my team, to the press." Still nothing. His voice stayed calm. "I didn't confront you earlier because I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to accuse you of something I couldn't prove. And now that you have..." Her voice was soft. "I'm leaving." She closed the laptop slowly. "You knew, didn't you? Weeks ago. Maybe longer." He nodded. "You knew and stayed." "I stayed to think. To protect your image?" "No. To protect what little respect I had left for myself." She looked down at the report again. "I didn't fake this to hurt you," she said quietly. "No. You faked it to keep me..." Her jaw tensed. "Because I knew I was losing you. You never had me." The words weren't cruel. They were final. Talon stepped back. "I'm not here to shame you or punish you. I'm not angry." He slid a white envelope across the counter. "These are the separation terms. No press, no noise. Everything clean." Aurelie looked at the envelope. "Just like that. No custody battle. No property war. Just the truth." She stared at him, eyes cold now. "And her? Are you running to her next?" He paused. "No, I'm walking toward my children." Aurelie closed her eyes briefly, then laughed, not loud, not mocking, just tired. "I gave you the image they wanted, the version of you they could market. You think they'll welcome your little family photo now? Some tea-making ex and 2 children who don't know your last name?" Talon didn't flinch. "They're mine, and they're real. That's more than I can say for anything I built standing next to you." She stared at him, but she didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just nodded once. "So, that's it?" "Yes." He turned toward the door. "You'll regret this," she said, her voice so even it felt rehearsed. Talon stopped, turned. "No. I regret not walking out sooner." He didn't go to his penthouse. He didn't go back to his office. He drove to Calmera, the quiet town where Naria lived, where the air didn't carry headlines and his name didn't echo through glass buildings. He didn't call ahead. He pulled up outside the cafe after closing, and saw the light still on. Naraya was inside, restocking tea tins. When she saw him through the glass, she didn't look surprised. She opened the door. "You look tired," she said. "I am." She didn't ask why. She didn't press. He stepped in, closed the door behind him. "I ended it." Naraya nodded once. "I figured." He sat on the stool across from her. "I didn't do it to chase you. I know. I did it because I realized I was living in a house made of lies, and I wanted to be a man my children could look at without shame." She didn't soften. She didn't lean forward. She simply said, "That's a good reason." Talon looked around the cafe. "It's quiet here. That's the point." He smiled slightly. "I'm not here to rush anything or fix what I broke overnight. I know I have to earn back space in your life. In theirs, you do, but I meant what I said to them. I'm not going anywhere now." Naraya studied him. "Not with hope, not with hurt, with caution. Then show up. Don't say it, show it." "I will." The next morning, Talon returned with muffins from the corner bakery and a box of tools. He didn't ask permission. He fixed the light above the register that had been flickering for months. Casson sat nearby building a puzzle. Mila drew a spaceship family, one that now included a dad. Talon didn't try to lead. He blended in. Later that day, while wiping down tables, he found a napkin with 3 words written in blue crayon. "Glad you came." He didn't know if it was Mila or Casson, but he folded it, put it in his jacket pocket. He would never throw it away. Talon arrived before sunrise. The cafe's front lights weren't even on, but he waited on the bench across the street, a paper bag in hand, coffee beside him. He wore no suit today, just jeans and a light sweater. Simple, intentional. When Naraya pulled up with the twins, she saw him right away. Casson spotted him too. "He's here again," the boy said. Mila grinned. "I told you he wasn't bluffing." Naraya didn't say a word. She parked, stepped out, opened the back doors, helped them with their backpacks. Talon stood as they crossed the street. "Morning," he said. "Didn't expect you this early," Naraya replied, handing Mila the cafe keys. "You said the back fridge was leaking. Figured I'd fix it before your rush hour." "You figured right." Casson tugged Talon's sleeve. "Did you bring the thing?" Talon reached into the bag and pulled out a comic book, second in a Space Explorer series Casson loved. "Thought you finished the first one." "I did, twice." Mila peeked in the bag. "Any scones?" "2. One with extra cinnamon, one with blueberry jam." She looked impressed. "You remembered." "I try." The cafe warmed slowly with the hum of regulars. Mrs. Estevez came in for her usual ginger shot. 2 high school seniors claimed the back table for a last-minute cram session. The local mechanic, Vic, ordered his normal, extra strong black with honey. Talon didn't interrupt the rhythm. He moved quietly, restocking napkins, fixing the shelf behind the register, mopping a corner that always collected dust. He asked before touching anything, waited for Naraya's nod. The twins did their homework in the corner booth. Mila doodled a spaceship with 4 figures, no names. But this time, the 4th had Talon's eyebrows. Naraya watched it all unfold without speaking much. By noon, the leak was fixed, 3 light bulbs had been replaced, and the espresso machine finally stopped hissing on every pour. "You're handy," she admitted. "Learned over time. YouTube and shame." She smirked. "Just a little." At closing, the twins stayed behind with Talon, while Naraya cleaned up the front. She listened from a distance as he helped Mila with spelling homework. "What's another word for important?" she asked. He leaned closer. "Let me see. What's the sentence?" She wanted to tell him something very crucial. She wrote it down slowly. "What does it mean?" Casson asked. Talon answered. "Something you can't ignore, something that matters more than the rest. Like you showing up now?" Mila said without looking up. Talon paused, then nodded. "Exactly like that." That night, as the cafe dimmed and the chairs went up, Naraya locked the door behind her and turned to face him. "You're blending in well. I'm trying not to take over." "You're not." Silence again. "I see the way they look at you," she added. "They've never had that. A man showing up for no reason, no promises, just showing up." I'll keep doing it. She looked at him for a long moment. I know. The next morning, Talon brought breakfast again. And the morning after that. By the end of the week, he had memorized the alarm code, restocked the sugar, and painted the chip trim on the back door. He didn't ask to be thanked. He didn't mention Aurelie or the divorce. He just showed up. Every day. On Friday afternoon, a storm rolled in. The sky turned gray, then nearly black. Thunder cracked above the hills. Rain pounded the cafe roof like war drums. The power cut out for 20 minutes. Mila jumped. Casson dropped his pencil. Talon lit 2 candles and sat beside them. It's just weather, he said. Nothing bad's happening. How do you know? Mila asked. Because I'm here, and I won't let anything happen to you. Naria watched from behind the counter. She didn't say it out loud, but in her chest, something quietly broke open. Not in fear, but in relief. The storm had passed, but the streets still shimmered with leftover rain. Outside the cafe window, the reflections of street lamps danced across puddles. Inside, the chairs were stacked, the register locked, and the twins were fast asleep in the corner booth, curled beneath a shared blanket. Naria wiped down the last counter, slower than usual. Talon stood by the front door, not ready to leave. They'll sleep through till morning, she said, glancing at the twins. He nodded. I can stay a little longer, if that's okay. She didn't answer right away. Then, you already are. He walked back toward the bar and sat on a stool, elbows on the wood, looking at her like he used to, without needing words to fill the space. She joined him, pulled up the stool across from his. They sat in silence, the soft hum of the refrigerator the only background noise. How long have you been waiting to be their father? She finally asked. Talon took a moment. Since I saw that photo you showed me, the one with the ice cream. It hit me like a wall. I couldn't unsee it, couldn't unfeel it. Naria's eyes stayed low. She picked at the corner of the dish towel in her hand. They've been happy, she said. Safe. Loved. But they always knew something was missing. I want to make up for what I missed. You can't make up time. I know. But you can fill the space you have now. Talon leaned back slightly. You always knew how to say things without dressing them up. I'm not trying to impress anyone. He smiled. That's what always scared people about you. She raised an eyebrow. Scared you? No, not at all. You were the only place I felt like I didn't have to prove anything. That silence again. Then Naria spoke. Do you blame me for not telling you? He shook his head slowly. I blame myself for not coming after you. I knew you leaving had more behind it. I just didn't ask. You were busy becoming someone the world needed. Turns out the world's expectations were cheap. She looked up at him for the first time in minutes. His eyes weren't heavy anymore. They were steady. I don't know where this is going, she said. Us, them, all of it. I'm not here for a label, he said. I'm here for the life that feels real. Naria folded the towel and set it aside. I don't trust easily. I know. You left a scar, one I buried beneath work and routine. He reached across the counter, not touching her, just letting his hand rest palm up on the surface between them. I'm not asking you to erase the scar, he said. Just to stop hiding it from me. She stared at his hand, not moving. Then, slowly, she placed her fingers over his. Not a grip. Just contact. Still cautious, still watching. But something inside her softened. Enough to let the moment stay. You should go home, she said quietly. They'll wake up confused if you're still here at sunrise. I'll be back before then. Don't make promises you can't. I'm not promising. I'm preparing. She let out a quiet breath. Get the spare key from the drawer, she said. He blinked. It's under the receipt book. He got up, walked over, opened the drawer, found the key, held it in his palm. You're trusting me? No, she said. I'm testing you. The lights in the studio were warm. Too warm. The kind that made your skin glow, whether you deserved to or not. Aurelie sat perfectly poised in the cream armchair, legs crossed, hands folded gently over her lap. No bump this time. Just a slim-fitting ivory dress and a face that had been prepped by 2 professionals for 90 minutes. Across from her sat the host, a woman with a calm smile and eyes trained for blood. We're live in 5, someone called from behind the cameras. Aurelie inhaled. not too deep, just enough to stay controlled. She had spent the last week crafting her narrative. Her PR team coached her on tone. Her stylist picked the right shade for vulnerable but strong. Her lawyer reviewed every word in the pre-interview. She wasn't here to admit anything. She was here to redirect. 3, 2, 1. The host smiled at the camera. Tonight, we're joined by Aurélie Dane Drexler, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and the former partner of billionaire Talon Drexler. After weeks of public silence, she's finally ready to speak. Aurélie looked into the lens with soft, composed eyes. "Thank you for having me." The interview began. The host didn't press, not at first. They talked about Aurélie's foundation, her advocacy for women's wellness, her recent trip to Lake Como. Then came the shift. "There's been a lot of speculation," the host said, her tone gentle but sharp underneath. "Rumors, headlines, questions around the end of your marriage." Aurélie nodded solemnly. "I think when you marry someone in the public eye, you carry both the beauty and the burden of their world. You learn to share everything, even when you're not ready. And were you ready for the way things ended?" Aurélie paused. "No." A beat. "I won't speak poorly about Talon. He's brilliant, focused, but I think we wanted different things. And I think I misunderstood how deep certain attachments from his past still ran." The host leaned in slightly. "Attachments?" Aurélie smiled faintly. "We all have history. Some people hold on to it more tightly than others. And the pregnancy rumors?" Aurélie's expression didn't shift. "I lost the baby, privately, before we were ready to tell anyone. It was a lie said so smoothly, so softly, it sounded like grief." The host nodded, her voice dipping. "I'm sorry. Thank you." The segment ended with a montage of photos. Aurélie at fundraisers, hugging school children, smiling next to senators. Carefully edited, softly lit. When the cameras cut, Aurélie leaned back, removed her mic, and walked off set without saying another word. Her lawyer followed her out. "That should buy you sympathy." "I don't want sympathy," she said. "I want control." An hour later, across the city, Talon stood backstage at a charity gala, hosted by his foundation. The ballroom beyond the curtains buzzed with donors, investors, and social climbers. He wasn't scheduled to speak, only to present a check. But something in him had shifted. He didn't tell Naraya he was doing this. He didn't prepare a press release. He hadn't written a statement. He would say what needed to be said, once, without rehearsal. The MC called his name. Talon stepped into the spotlight. The room quieted. Phones lifted. Cameras rolled. He thanked the crowd, spoke briefly about the project they were funding, a new wing at a pediatric research center. Then, near the end, he paused. "I used to think legacy was about what you built," he said slowly. "But lately, I've been learning. It's about what you raise, and who you raise it with." The room stiffened slightly. "I want to thank the people in my life who remind me what's real, who've shown me that truth isn't always loud. Sometimes it walks into a room without fanfare and just stands quietly, waiting to be accepted." He didn't name them, but everyone paying attention understood. His board members looked at each other. His assistant's phone buzzed nonstop with alerts. The headline was already writing itself. "Drexler hints at secret family during gala speech." But Talon didn't care. He stepped down from the podium, buttoned his jacket, and walked straight out the back door, past the press, past the donors, into the night. Naraya heard about the speech before she saw it. It started with a ping on her phone, then another and another. 3 missed calls from her sister. A single text from a friend in town. "Is this about you?" She stepped out of the pantry mid-restock and clicked the link. A 30-second clip. Shaky phone footage from a corner of the ballroom. Talon at a podium. Confident, calm, dressed in a simple black suit, no tie. She watched as he spoke. "What you raise, and who you raise it with." She blinked slowly. Mila walked into the kitchen at that exact moment, holding a bowl of cereal. "What's that?" Naraya clicked off the video. Nothing, but it wasn't nothing. And she knew she couldn't ignore it. By the next morning, headlines were multiplying. Drexler's mysterious speech, hidden family, new chapter. Inside sources claim Talon Drexler has been spending time in Napa County. Who is the woman behind the curtain? Bloggers guessed names. Old flames, socialites, former interns. One tabloid even ran a pixelated photo of Naraya outside her cafe, mistakenly captioned, "Unconfirmed." The coverage wasn't vicious, not yet, but it was creeping closer. By lunchtime, 3 cars she didn't recognize drove slowly past her storefront. One had tinted windows. Another parked too long. She shut the cafe early that day. Talon showed up 5 minutes later. The lights were off. She was sweeping near the door when he knocked. She didn't open it right away. Then she did. "Come in." He stepped inside, looked around. "Where are the kids?" "With my sister." "I didn't want them to hear anything if your name came up on the radio. I didn't mean for it to escalate." "I know, but I won't pretend they don't exist. I'm not asking you to. But I need to keep them safe." Talon nodded. "I'll handle the press. They're circling. You know that? I'll draw them away." She leaned on the broom. "You said you wanted quiet. Truth without noise. I still do." "Then tell me what your next move is, Talon. Because if this becomes a circus, our children are going to be the ones in the center ring." He stepped closer, not with urgency, but with full attention. "I'm not releasing any statement. I'm not giving interviews. But I am shifting my will, my legacy, my foundation's board, and I'll name them both." She inhaled once, sharp. "On paper?" "Yes. Talon. I won't let them be hidden anymore. They're 6. They don't need the pressure of being heirs. They won't feel it. They'll be protected. They'll be noticed. I'll protect that too." She stared at him. "I trust what I see in front of me, but the world behind you, the one with microphones and investors and long tables filled with men in tailored suits, that's not my world, and I won't let it take them." "You think I would?" "I think you spent years letting it take you." Silence. He swallowed. "I deserve that." She set the broom aside. "I'm not saying stop. I'm saying if you want to bring them into your world, then you need to build it into something worth bringing them into. I'm working on it." "I see that. So do they. But be careful what you shine a light on, because everything it touches becomes visible." That night, Mila asked why someone took her photo when they were walking to the car. "They had a big camera," she said, "like the ones in movies." Naraya crouched beside her, brushing her daughter's hair with slow, even strokes. "They thought you were someone important." Mila tilted her head. "A princess? Something like that. But we're not famous." "No. And that's a good thing. Then why are they following us?" Naraya paused. "Because your daddy used to be famous. And now people want to know what's new in his life." Mila frowned. "But that's not their business." "You're right. It's not. Are they going to take more pictures?" "Maybe." Mila thought for a moment. "Will he still come to the cafe?" "Yes." "Okay." She said it like it was settled, then climbed into bed. Naraya stood by the doorway and watched her fall asleep. Outside, a flashbulb lit the window just for a second, and Naraya finally felt the weight of all that had been quiet, now cracking open. The boardroom wasn't cold, it was quiet. And that was worse. Talon sat at the head of the long oak table, flanked by 2 of his most trusted legal advisors. No assistants, no phones, just a folder with 3 names written in bold across the top. Mila Cade, Casson Cade, Naraya Cade. He didn't hesitate. Draft A will update. Immediate, full recognition, equal shares. His lead attorney, Doran Reese, adjusted his glasses. "You're certain? I should have done it the day I met them. And Naraya? She's not asking for anything. This is my decision." Reese nodded. "We'll move quietly. Public filings will use initial-based redactions. The media won't see their names unless someone leaks it. No leaks. We'll issue cease and desists for anyone who tries." Talon tapped the folder once. "Update the Drexler Foundation bylaws. 2 additional heirs. Automatic succession line. The board will protest. They can object behind closed doors. I'm not asking for a vote." Reese leaned forward slightly. "Are you prepared for the backlash? It signals that everything with Aurelie was a farce." Talon didn't blink. "It was." The younger attorney, a sharp woman named Lex Hartwell, looked up from her notes. "There's one more thing." Talon raised an eyebrow. "Aurelie's attorneys filed an injunction this morning." "What kind?" They're attempting to challenge your financial restructuring, claiming joint ownership of all active trust amendments made during the marriage. Talon exhaled through his nose. She's stalling. Correct. But she's also betting you'll hesitate. Because if this turns public, it drags the children into the conversation. Talon stared at the papers in front of him. She wants the media storm. She's trying to rattle Naraya, Hartwell added. Make her afraid enough to step back. Talon stood slowly. Then we stay ahead of it. Back in Calmera, Naraya sat at the kitchen table, hands around a mug that had gone cold. Her sister sat across from her, frowning at her phone. You sure you're okay? I'm fine. You don't look fine. I'm not panicked, just watching. Her sister set the phone down. You've been watching since the moment he walked back in. You've waited to see if he would disappear. And he hasn't. No. So what's this face? Naraya rubbed her temples. Orali's making moves. Legal ones. And I have to decide if I want to be part of the legal conversation. Her sister hesitated. You mean, like custody stuff? Not against him. With him. As a unit. Oh, I raised these kids alone. I didn't do it for credit. But if we're stepping into his world, with all the signatures and trusts and press, I need to make sure I still have control. Her sister leaned in. You're afraid. I'm protective. There's a difference. That evening, Talon arrived at the cafe after hours, wearing the same black coat he used to wear during their vineyard days. No logo. No tailored flair. Just him. Naraya let him in without speaking. They sat in the back. He slid the legal packet across the table. I had the will updated. They're listed. It's protected. Naraya nodded. He continued. The foundation is next. Equal shares. Trust-based access. And me? You're their mother. You don't need my permission to matter. She looked down at the papers. I'm not worried about your decisions today, Talon. I'm thinking 10 years from now, 20. What happens when they start getting followed too? When their names show up in headlines? When your legacy makes their lives feel like they were born into a spotlight they didn't ask for? I don't want that. But it follows you. I'll shield them from it. And if you can't, I'll pull them out of it. She leaned back. I'm not challenging you. I'm asking you to think like a father, not a CEO. I am. Then prove it. He paused. What do you need? I need legal custody to stay untouched. I need their education and travel decisions in our hands, not a board's. And I need you to promise me one thing. Anything. If the press ever starts turning this into a circus, if they try to name them, expose them, twist them into symbols, we step out, fully. No more stages, no more statements, no matter how powerful you are. Talon reached across the table. This time she didn't hesitate. She placed her hand in his. I promise. Saturday morning in Calmera was slow, golden, and full of quiet. The air smelled like rain from the night before, and sunlight cut gently across the sidewalk in long strips. Inside the cafe, Naraya stood barefoot in the back kitchen, chopping strawberries. Mila was perched on the counter, her braids messy, her notebook open. Casson sat on the floor, sorting puzzle pieces into color groups. Talon arrived not in his usual car but on foot, carrying a brown grocery bag filled with flour, syrup, and something wrapped in foil. I want to make pancakes, he said at the door. You know how? Mila asked, skeptical. Nope. Great, Casson muttered. We're doomed. Naraya arched an eyebrow. You really took the day off. I shut off my phone, gave the driver the weekend, no schedule, no assistant. Board won't like that. They'll survive. She stepped aside to let him in. You're lucky I like pancakes. He grinned. We'll call it a team effort. The batter turned out lumpy. The strawberries too soft. The pan too hot. But the pancakes were perfect. Uneven edges, thick centers, a little too crispy on the bottom. Mila named them dad cakes. Casson approved only after the second batch. After breakfast, they sat on the back patio. Mila with her notebook, Casson with a book Talon had brought. Naraya sat nearby, warm tea in hand. You're happy, she said quietly. I am. They feel it. I hope so. They'll remember this. I want them to. She turned toward him. They need to know what's changed. Talon nodded. I know. Later that afternoon, Talon gathered them in the living room. No fanfare, no speeches. Just all four of them on the couch. "There's something I need to share with you," he said. Mila looked up from her sketchpad. "Is it bad?" "No. It's important. Like when Mom told us about you?" "Sort of." He pulled out a small envelope. Inside it, a folded sheet with 2 printed pages. "I've added both of your names to something called a family trust. That means I've made sure, legally, that you're part of everything I've built, that you have rights, that you're recognized, not just in my heart, but on paper, forever." Casson blinked. "So, we're rich?" Talon laughed. "Not today." Mila looked thoughtful. "Do we have to do anything?" "No, just live, grow, be who you already are." "But why do this now?" she asked. "Because when you love someone, you don't hide them, and I want the world to know you're mine." The room went still. Mila reached for the paper, held it in both hands. "Does this mean we'll be famous?" "No, that's not the goal." "Good," she said. "I don't want people watching me eat pancakes." Casson leaned into Talon's arm. "Quiet, steady. You're staying, right?" "I'm not going anywhere." That night, the four of them sat outside, wrapped in light blankets, listening to the hum of crickets and the rustle of trees. No cameras, no questions, just space to breathe. Talon leaned back, eyes on the sky. "I think I needed this more than I knew." Nerea looked over at him. "You needed real?" He nodded. "And I didn't know what that felt like until now." Nerea recognized the car before she saw the woman. Black, expensive, the kind that didn't belong on their street. It was parked across from the cafe. Windows up, engine off. She didn't move toward it. She kept sweeping the front step like nothing was strange. But when the door opened and Aurelie Dane stepped out, Nerea's grip on the broom tightened. Tailored cream coat, sleek bun, dark sunglasses, though there was no sun. She walked with the same slow elegance as the magazine spreads. Unrushed, unbothered, strategic. Nerea set the broom aside and met her halfway on the sidewalk. Aurelie smiled faintly. "You're taller than I pictured." Nerea didn't return the smile. "And you're exactly what I pictured. Can we talk?" "We're already talking." Aurelie looked at the cafe window. The twins weren't visible, but the implication hung in the air. "Somewhere private?" Nerea hesitated, then gestured toward the side alley that led to the garden courtyard. It was closed to customers this week for repairs. They walked in silence. Once alone, Aurelie removed her sunglasses and tucked them neatly into her coat pocket. "You think you've won?" "I think your driver's engine is still warm," Nerea said flatly. "So I'm guessing this won't take long." Aurelie studied her face. "You're not what I expected. I get that a lot. I thought you'd be smaller, quiet, in the background." "I was. Until your lie put my kids in headlines." Aurelie tilted her head. "You really think he left me for you?" Nerea didn't blink. "He left you for the truth. Do you think that'll protect you?" Nerea crossed her arms. "Are you threatening me?" "No. I'm giving you context." Aurelie stepped closer. "Talon may be in love with the idea of a simple life, but men like him always return to what they know: strategy, status, power. You think you've changed his story, but you're just a season in it. And you think I'm naive. I think you've been lucky. But luck fades." Nerea's voice sharpened. "And when it does, make sure your children aren't the ones who pay for it." A long pause. Then Nerea said, calmly, "You've already taken enough from them." "I took nothing. He gave me everything willingly." "And what did it cost you?" Aurelie's expression twitched, just slightly. She turned, slipped her glasses back on. "If he chooses to marry you, I hope you have a prenup written in ink, not trust." Then she walked away. Nerea didn't mention the visit. Not when Talon called that evening to check on the twins. Not when he showed up the next morning with fresh croissants and their favorite mango juice. Not even when Mila asked casually, "Who was the fancy lady in the white coat outside yesterday?" She was lost, Nerea said without blinking. But something inside her had shifted. Aurelie hadn't come to fight. She had come to warn. And it wasn't what she said that stayed with Nerea. It was how calm she'd been when she said it. As if she still believed Talon would find his way back to her world. And Naraya, small-town tea-sipping Naraya, would eventually burn out under the weight of a billionaire's orbit. That fear wasn't loud. It was quiet. Quiet enough to keep her awake at night, replaying words she hadn't wanted to hear. So when Talon came back 2 nights later, all warmth and steadiness, she smiled, served him a plate, asked about his day. But she didn't sit with him, didn't laugh at his dry jokes, didn't meet his eyes for long. He noticed, but he didn't push. Not until the cafe was closed, and the twins were asleep on the couch again. Talon leaned against the counter, arms folded, watching her refill the sugar jars one by one. "You're different tonight." "I'm tired." "Not that kind of different." She closed the jar softly. He waited, then said, "Did she come here?" Naraya didn't respond. "That's a yes." "She came and left." "Did she say anything that stuck?" Naraya finally looked at him. She said, "I'm a season." Talon's jaw tightened. "She said you'll miss the world you walked away from." "I won't." "She said the kids will get caught in the fallout if I'm not careful." He took a step closer. "She's wrong. She's strategic. So are you." "No, Talon. I'm protective. That's not the same thing." He didn't speak. Naraya wiped her hands on a towel, then turned to face him fully. "You've been doing everything right. You show up, you listen, you fix what's broken. But your life isn't small. Your world doesn't stay quiet for long. And I've been asking myself something I never said out loud." He waited. She continued, voice steady. "Are we building something for us? Or are we building a pause in your storm?" He stepped closer again. "This isn't a pause, Naraya." She searched his face. "If that's true, then don't just fight to be here. Stay when things get hard. Stay when it's not charming, when I'm angry, when the kids are loud, when the cafe loses money, when nothing about this fits into a curated speech." He didn't hesitate. "I will." "Then stop telling me. Show me. But not through money, not through contracts. Just stay. Be the one thing in our lives that doesn't leave when the noise gets loud." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm not going anywhere." She didn't cry. She didn't collapse into him. She just nodded once, then reached into the drawer, pulled out the napkin from that night he stayed. During the storm, the one with the crayon words, "Glad you came." She handed it to him again. "You're still earning this." The press called it a shock. The Drexler Foundation issued a 4-line statement that morning. "Effective immediately, Mr. Talon Drexler has stepped down from all day-to-day operations and public-facing roles. He will retain board oversight and act as a private advisor. No scandal, no leak, no lawsuits. Just a man choosing to disappear from the noise." Talon didn't tell Naraya until after it was done. He showed up with the kids from school, handed her a small folder, and waited while she read it. "You stepped down?" He nodded. "You gave up control?" "I gave up chaos." She blinked. "The last time you quit something you didn't even tell me. That was a mistake. This, I wanted you to see it." She flipped through the documents. No fine print, no hidden clauses, just clean signed resignations and updated board structures. "You really left?" "I handed the title to a man I trust, someone who wants visibility more than peace. And you?" "I want this." He didn't gesture around the cafe. He didn't mean the town. He meant the rhythm, the stillness, the pancakes and late-night homework and early morning tea. "You're serious," she said softly. "I'm finally choosing the life I want, not the one I was told to build." That weekend, he drove them an hour outside Calmera. The kids asked if it was a picnic. Mila guessed it was a zoo. Casson hoped it was a bookstore with hot cocoa. When they arrived, it wasn't any of that. It was a vineyard, small, quiet, unmarked, tucked into a curve of a hillside where sunlight touched every leaf. Naraya stepped out of the car slowly. "This isn't..." "It is," he said. She stared at the rows, the empty barn, the old house at the back. He handed her a key. "You always said peace has a rhythm. I wanted us to have a place that carries that rhythm, even when life gets loud." Mila ran toward the vines. Casson followed, yelling something about finding bugs with armor. Naraya turned to Talon. "You bought this?" "I restored it. It was dying. Like I was..." She didn't speak. He added, "I'm not asking you to move in, or make this something it's not. I just wanted a place we could grow without watching our backs." A place to start over? No, he said. A place to continue, with choice, not pressure. She looked back at the vineyard. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. It needed repairs, fencing, soil care, but it felt right. It felt still. Say something, he whispered. She looked at him and smiled. Mila named the tree. It wasn't much yet, just a small potted peach sapling that Talon brought. In the trunk of the car 2 days after showing them the vineyard. Why a peach tree? Naraya asked, brushing soil from her hands. Because the twins love peaches. Cassin raised an eyebrow. I like grapes. You eat more peaches. Not true. You ate 4 last week. Okay, fine. Mila stepped between them. Can we plant it now? Talon nodded, handing her a small spade. They found a spot near the fence line. Enough sun, enough protection from the wind. He let her dig the hole herself. Naraya helped with the roots. Cassin filled in the dirt with both hands, grinning like he was building a castle. They all stood around it when it was done. 4 people, 1 young tree, and more peace than any of them had expected to find together. Mila looked up at Talon. Can we name it? Sure. She thought for a moment. Truth. Naraya blinked. Why that? Because we all needed it before we got here. Talon smiled. Then Truth, it is. Over the next few weeks, the vineyard became part of their rhythm. Weekends were spent trimming vines, clearing old equipment, and repainting the front of the barn. Naraya handled the gardening with her usual calm. Talon repaired the porch by hand. No assistants, no contractors, just him. Mila turned the barn loft into an art space. Cassin declared himself chief explorer of forgotten corners. Talon didn't ask to take over. He asked where he could help. And Naraya watched. She watched as he carried Cassin on his shoulders after long afternoons. She watched as he sat through Mila's full explanation of how grape skin affects taste, twice. She watched him laugh, breathe, rest, and more than once, she caught herself smiling in the middle of something simple. A shared look across the kitchen, a hand on her lower back when he passed. A moment of quiet, where the old pain didn't press between them. One evening, as they sat under string lights stretched across the deck, Neria leaned her head against Talon's shoulder. The twins were asleep upstairs. The vineyard rustled with the soft song of wind and leaves. You're becoming a good man again, she whispered. He turned to her. I'm just trying to be a present one. You are. They sat in silence. Then she looked up at him. I'm still scared. I know. I'm not scared you'll leave. Then what? I'm scared you'll lose yourself again. Talon didn't answer right away. Then he said, I'm not trying to be who I was. I'm learning how to be who I should have been. She placed her hand over his. Then I'll meet you there. Aurelie didn't wear red this time. She wore a soft gray coat. No diamonds, no heels, just low boots and tired eyes. She stood outside the cafe, clutching a slim leather folder. Naraya noticed her from the kitchen window first. The still posture, the careful breathing. She didn't panic. She walked to the door, wiped her hands, and stepped outside. Their eyes met. Aurelie, Naraya. Silence. I'm not here to cause anything, Aurelie said quickly. May I sit? Naraya nodded toward the bench near the entry path. She joined her, slow, cautious, but not cold. Aurelie opened the folder. Inside was a check, large enough to buy 5 cafes, but folded beside it was a single page. A letter. I'm leaving the city, she said. Moving to Boston. Fresh start, quiet job. My parents offered their guest house. I won't lie. I needed help. I spent too long lying about who I was. Naraya said nothing. I wanted you to have this. She nodded at the check. For the kids. College. Whatever. I don't need your money. I know, Aurelie whispered. But I needed to give it. She handed the letter over. Naraya didn't open it. She waited. I lied to keep someone I never truly had, Aurelie went on. But the worst part wasn't the fake pregnancy. It was convincing myself I deserved him more than you did, because I knew I didn't. You could have walked away sooner, Naraya said gently. I was afraid he'd never look at me again if I told the truth. Did it work? No. A small, sad smile. And he hasn't looked at me since. They both sat quiet. Then Aurelie asked the only question she really came for. Are they happy, the twins? Yes, Nerea said softly. They laugh more now. Aurelie nodded. And Talon? Nerea didn't answer with words. She simply said, we laugh more now too. Aurelie blinked fast. She stood. I'm sorry, Nerea. For all of it. I believe you. And that was it. No drawn-out goodbye. No bitterness. Just a woman who finally stepped away from her performance and walked into her own quiet. As Aurelie disappeared down the street, Nerea opened the letter. It wasn't long. Just a few lines. You were always the truth. I was only ever the story that sounded better in headlines. Be good to him. He was broken when I found him, but he's whole now. Because of you. The vineyard looked smaller than Talon remembered. Maybe because this time, he wasn't viewing it through the lens of ambition. He was kneeling in the dirt, helping Mila and Casson tug weeds from a row of young grapevines while Nerea sorted baskets near the barn. The twins had mud on their jeans and smudges on their cheeks. Talon had a leaf stuck in his hair, and his once pristine sneakers were no longer white. And he'd never felt more at peace. Nerea laughed from across the field. You were supposed to supervise, not start a mud war. They declared war first, Talon called back, dodging a clump of tossed soil. She walked over slowly, wiping her hands on a towel. Her hair was tied back, her face flushed from the sun. She looked real, solid, beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with the lights he once lived under. He looked up at her. You always loved this place. You hated the smell. I hated not understanding what peace smelled like. She sat beside him, shoulder to shoulder. The kids ran ahead, chasing each other between the vines. For a moment, the world was silent. Talon reached into his shirt pocket and pulled out a small folded paper. Not a ring box, not velvet. A paper. Nerea glanced at it. What's that? He handed it to her. It was a sketch, rough lines, drawn with a ballpoint pen. A layout, a blueprint. She studied it. The cafe expansion? She asked. This is the back lot. He nodded. One side will be a reading lounge, the other an herb greenhouse. Your blend recipes deserve their own garden. She traced the lines, stunned. You did this? With help. But yeah. She looked up. Her eyes searched his. You're building this for me? For us, he said quietly. I wanted to offer something that wouldn't fade, or fold, or end up in a tabloid. I wanted to grow with you. Silence. I know we've skipped a lot of steps, he added. But if it's okay with you, I'd like to spend the rest of my life catching up. He didn't kneel, didn't pull out anything shiny. He just sat with dirt on his palms, truth in his voice, and every piece of him laid open. Nerea folded the paper, tucked it into her pocket. Then she leaned in and kissed him, soft, firm, full. You're home now, she said. And with their children laughing in the background, they held each other under the open sky. Not perfect, not polished, but whole. The mornings weren't dramatic anymore. No flashing headlines. No car service engines idling beneath high-rise penthouses. No social media buzz. No performance. Just a kettle whistling, a countertop with scattered toast crumbs, and two sleepy kids with hair tousled by dreams. Talon Drexler had started waking up before the sun, not to check earnings reports, not to review the latest stock predictions, but to slice strawberries for his daughter and learn how his son liked his eggs. Soft, not runny, with pepper but no salt. 6 months had passed since Aurelie left. 6 months since he walked away from the facade. Since he moved into a small home 3 blocks from Nerea's cafe. He didn't force himself into Nerea's space. He respected her rhythms. But he never disappeared again. He started picking the twins up after school, helping them with their reading journals, attending parent meetings, learning Nerea's cinnamon roll recipe. He showed up not as a billionaire, but as a man willing to unlearn and relearn what mattered. At first, Nerea kept a quiet distance. She was warm, never cold, but guarded. She'd seen him disappear once. She wouldn't bet the cafe on his promises. But Talon didn't give promises. He gave presents. He started repainting the cafe's back wall on weekends. It had faded in the winter. Nerea never had time to handle it. Then came the community class he sponsored for young artists. hosted right inside the cafe's new extension space. It was Mila's idea. "Kids should make art where the tea smells good," she said with a straight face. Talon grinned. "I'll bring the pencils. You bring the genius." Nuria watched it all unfold like seasons she never expected to live through again. Her children, blooming, the cafe expanding, and the man who once let her go showing up like clockwork. But it wasn't just the big gestures. It was the little things. When Casson caught the flu, Talon stayed up reading science fiction beside his bed. When Mila cried after a classmate teased her about her no-dad situation, Talon wrote her a note and tucked it in her school folder. "To the bravest girl I know, I've always been yours. I just took the long way home." Nuria found it while packing lunch. She held it in her hands for a long time. One Thursday evening, after the kids fell asleep, Talon stood outside the cafe, holding 2 cups of tea. Nuria was sweeping the last bits of dust from the floor. He offered 1 cup. "Lavender mint," he said. "Your favorite?" She took it, her eyes tired but soft. They sat on the wooden steps, watching the stars. "How long are you staying?" she asked. Talon didn't hesitate. "As long as I'm welcome." She nodded. "And if I told you I wasn't ready? I'd still sweep your porch and walk the twins to school." Her smile was tired, but it broke through. "I don't need a perfect man, Talon." "Good," he said, "because I'm learning to be a real one." They clinked mugs. Later that month, Nuria invited him to a vineyard dinner, a small, quiet affair for family and close friends. She hadn't called him family, not yet, but the invite was enough. He arrived early, sleeves rolled, helping her string lanterns between trees. Casson ran in circles with a flashlight. Mila practiced her welcome speech with her aunt. Talon looked across the field as dusk settled in. He saw a life, not a brand, not a headline, not a curated moment, but a life. And he wanted it. Not because he needed to prove anything, not because he had money to spend, but because he'd tasted peace, and it came in Nuria's tea and her children's. Laughter, and the way her eyes looked when the lantern light hit them just right. They danced that night, slowly, quietly. No music playing from speakers, just Nuria's sister humming a soft tune. Talon held Nuria close. She rested her head on his chest. "I didn't think we'd get here," she whispered. "Neither did I," he said. "But I never stopped wanting to." She pulled back, searching his eyes. "I'm scared," she admitted, "of hoping too much. Then let me carry the hope for both of us." For a little while, she nodded, silent. And in the middle of a vineyard under strung lanterns and the sound of distant laughter, they moved slowly, carefully, like 2 people who had lost everything once and weren't going to rush the rebuild. 3 weeks after the vineyard dinner, Talon showed up at the cafe on a Tuesday morning with a folded piece of paper. He waited until the morning rush slowed. Nuria wiped her hands on a towel and joined him at the corner table. Without a word, he slid the paper across to her. She opened it. It was a drawing, not from him, but from Mila. Stick figures, a house with 3 windows, 2 kids, a woman with curly hair holding a tray, a man with a briefcase, but his sleeves were rolled up. Above it, scribbled in pink pencil, "Our family. Now he stays." Nuria blinked fast, trying not to let the tears fall. "I didn't ask her to draw that," Talon said softly. She nodded, tracing the page with her thumb. "Casson asked me what a dad is supposed to do," he added. "What did you say?" I told him, "Show up even when it's hard, and never stop showing up." Her throat tightened. Then she reached into her apron and pulled out a spare key, laid it on the table between them. No speech. He looked at it, then looked at her. "I won't make promises I can't keep," he said. "You don't have to. Just come home." Spring passed. Then summer arrived with longer days and louder laughter. Talon moved into a modest house 5 minutes from Nuria's, not for appearances, but for rhythm. He didn't want to be a shadow. He wanted to be present without pushing. He helped the twins start a garden. They grew tomatoes, marigolds, and lopsided cucumbers. He built them a treehouse, which he painted himself, even though he'd never held a paintbrush in his life. Nuria would watch him through the cafe window, sometimes smiling, sometimes still afraid. Love, after all, hadn't saved her the first time. But this time, it wasn't love trying to save her. It was presence, steadiness, healing that didn't demand a title. One night, while Talon read to the kids, Naraya stayed behind to close up the cafe. He found her on the floor, organizing tea boxes. "You need a break," he said, kneeling beside her. She looked at him, her face tired but content. "I like staying busy." He gently took the box from her hands. "You deserve quiet too." She didn't fight it. He sat beside her, silence wrapped around them like an old familiar coat. Then he said, "I made mistakes that cost me years." She turned to him. "We both did. I want to build something real now. But only if we walk into it together." She smiled. "You already know the answer." He leaned forward. But before lips met, a crash echoed from the kitchen. Mila's voice shouted, "Cassin broke the lemonade jar." Talon grinned. Duty calls. Later that week, Naraya posted a photo on the cafe's bulletin board. Not online. Not for anyone but the people who walked through her door. It was of Talon, Mila, and Cassin, covered in garden soil, all three laughing. Below it she wrote in black ink, "Some things grow late, but they still bloom." Customers paused to read it, smiled, moved on. But one day, a woman walked in wearing sunglasses and pearls. Aurelie Dane. She didn't ask for tea. She asked for Naraya. Naraya met her at the front with calm eyes. "I just wanted to see what won," Aurelie said. "What made him choose this over everything we had?" Naraya didn't flinch. "He didn't choose this over anything. He chose himself." "Finally," Aurelie scoffed. "And you think that's enough?" "No," Naraya said. "But showing up every day and earning the love he lost, that is." Aurelie didn't argue. She just looked around the cafe, the lights, the photos, the small, steady life. Then she walked out. Not a word more. Naraya didn't speak of it again. Talon never asked. 6 months later, Talon didn't plan a proposal with cameras or catered meals. He placed a simple gold band inside a folded napkin, left it beside Naraya's tea when she came back from the evening rush. She opened it, stared. He didn't say, "Will you marry me?" out loud. He just whispered, "I'm here. I'm yours. If you still want me." She didn't cry. She didn't ask why now. She stood on her toes and kissed him. Long, quiet, real. Later, Mila would ask, "Are you and Mom married now?" Naraya smiled. "We're getting there." Cassin added, "Does that mean we get cake?" Talon grinned. The biggest. They didn't rush the wedding. No guest lists, no sponsors. Just a small gathering beneath the cherry tree where Naraya once snapped that photo of the twins. She wore a sky blue dress. He wore no tie. Mila handed her the ring. Cassin held his dad's hand. Vows weren't needed. Everyone already knew. When Talon kissed her, it wasn't loud. It wasn't grand. It was steady. It was enough. Love built on truth may take longer to bloom. It may grow in broken soil, through pain and over time, but when it does, it holds. The story of Naraya and Talon isn't about getting back what was lost. It's about learning what's worth protecting and never letting go of it again, even after storms, even after lies, even after silence. Because the most powerful love stories don't start with grand gestures. They begin again, with quiet presence, real actions, and love that's not for show, but for home. Have you ever seen someone rebuild their family from the ground up? Do you believe in second chances? Not the flashy kind, but the hard-earned, soul-deep kind. Tell us in the comments. And if this story moved you, even in the smallest way, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes that healing love is still possible. Thank you for watching Mr. Charles Stories. We'll see you in the next one.